Hello everyone, my name is Cassie and I'm going to be leading you through our Connections initiative. This is for Group 7 and we were studying the city of El Monte. El Monte is a very industrial city. It's in the Inland Empire, fairly close to Cal Poly Pomona, but further east. It is bordered by the San Gabriel Mountains, San Gabriel River, and the closed Hills landfill. El Monte has a lot of pollution from its industrial sector. It doesn't have a lot of jobs within the city. A lot of people have to commute far to get to work. It has a housing crisis. There are not a lot of homeowners. A lot of people rent. Um, and it does not really have a good way of dealing with its waste products. So to kind of fix each of these problems with regenerative solutions, we came up with the Connections Initiative, which would involve replacing existing solid waste sites in the city with these lots that have a community side and then a waste management side and energy production side. So we would have co-housing communities, community gardens, and time banking centers on one side of the lot, and then behind them and interconnected to them would be our city composting facilities, plastic recycling and bioplastic manufacturing facilities, and solar microgrid systems. This is a vignette showing what our site might look like if you were standing in front of it. You can see in the front is our community-centered area, and in the back are our waste management buildings. One solution that we had for El Monte's waste management problem would be to replace plastic manufacturing, particularly in the food packaging sector, with bioplastic manufacturing, and to provide a plastic recycling plant as a backup alternative for plastic that would still be coming into El Monte. So our goal would be to replace plastics entirely with bioplastics, and we would spread this initiative throughout the city. But as a backup, we would have a plastic recycling plant because we know that in reality, oftentimes things don't go perfectly. And this would be connected to our composting plant because bioplastics are actually made from plants and they're biodegradable, so they can be composted. And then our solar microgrid system works well with being on the rooftop of both of these facilities. So just a quick overview, bioplastics, like I said, they're made from plants, often cassava, legumes, sugarcane, or corn, and then they're mixed with a chemical, broken down, and then molded. And they can take up to 80 days to biodegrade, but they do biodegrade, which is a huge improvement. Because our plastics, they would go through the recycling plant and get reused as much as possible. But with plastics, there's always going to be a waste product. Once the plastic has run through its life cycle, there are still going to be waste products. And then the question is, what do we do with those? So for the time being, we would burn those for energy for the city, but that's the best that we can do until plastics are all gone from El Monte and we can completely replace things with bioplastics.
Hi everybody, it's Jesse. So my approach was shelter, and for our group we chose the city of El Monte. Now, just to give a basic fact of El Monte, in 2022, the homeownership rate of El Monte was 39.6%, meaning it had declined. And since it had been declining, with more people choosing to rent rather than own any homes, it is just basically proof to show that, you know what, this city needs a regenerative housing solution. And so, from the bird's eye view, to better show on a visual standpoint, we will create hubs of community life that bring neighbors together and promote the sharing of knowledge and ideas in every affected sector, not just, my own. Now, here we have our vignette from a broader standpoint and to show what we are trying to accomplish. But to focus a bit more on my end, you can see on the far side of the vignette, buildings pressed closer together, but also given more privacy for everybody, meaning everybody has a everyone has their own private unit, but of course it's closer together with more space in the center for any other sort of commodities. Now, here we have two more type of vignettes to complete our approach better when it comes to our regenerative housing solution. Now, as you can see, on one side we have kids playing and families coming together and basically enjoying each other's company. On the other side, we have more of a warmer, welcoming approach to really help show what we want to accomplish when it comes to co-housing. Basically, that is what the co-housing solution is about. Its objective is to bring others closer together, not just to be able to share commodities that that area may have, but to also be able to rely on one another rather than having to rely on your own.
Hi everyone, my name is Pearl and I'm doing a composting program in Monte. And basically, composting program is a zero waste initiative that requires residents and businesses to separate their trash into three bins: recycling, compost, and landfill bins. And it would be located in El Monte outside resident homes. There would also be more educational opportunities in schools to teach people about the importance of composting. And additionally, there would also be free composting bins and incentives to boost compliance. Some incentives to include like offering free workshops to teach people about composting techniques and sustainable living, or tax credits or rebates for households or businesses that actively participate, and opportunities for residents to use compost at community gardens or farms where they can see a direct impact for their contributions. And we chose this practice because composting is a good way of helping the environment as it helps to reduce methane emissions, improve soil health, and reduce pollution. This is because landfills generate methane, and by composting organic waste, we can help reduce emissions by over 50%. Compost also enriches soil health by returning carbon and nutrients, which in turn reduces the need for synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. Relating back to the city of El Monte, the city produces a lot of waste, and this program can make a big difference. Instead of sending tons of trash to landfills, this program will help turn organic waste into compost. This aligns with the principles of Lyle, as he believed that waste isn't waste until we waste it. And there's obviously a cost to setting this up, but compost facilities are actually cheaper to build than landfills. Once the program is running, it could inspire other programs to follow Almonte's example. And in conclusion, composting is a very practical and eco-friendly solution and helps Almonte become a better city to live in.
Hi, my name is Brielle, and for my research, I focused on microgrid systems and more specifically for El Monte solar microgrid systems. Microgrid systems are localized energy systems that can connect to or disconnect from a main or larger power grid outside of its own local location. In our regenerative version of El Monte, we will be using solar energy microgrids. This allows for clean and renewable energy to be the main energy source for El Monte. The solar systems would be located in several different areas across El Monte, with about 14 different solar microgrid systems in total. The microgrid solar systems would create usable, sustainable energy from the sun to power all different kinds of homes, businesses, communal spaces, or buildings. This would be the main source of sustainable regenerative energy for El Monte that can still be connected to outside larger energy sources if need be to meet the energy needs of the city, no matter what they may be. I chose this practice to focus on because this produces clean energy for the entire community that can easily be connected or disconnected from a mainstream power source as the town may see fit, so it can run independently or alongside a larger outside energy source based on the necessary amount of energy output for the city. So the best part about microgrids is that they are very easy to place, and they can be placed on top of any house, business, community building, and they create lots of energy for the entire city. And in most cases where cities or communities use microgrid systems, they produce about 70 to 80% of the city's energy needs, and all other energy needs can be outsourced to a larger microgrid or a larger grid to produce enough energy for whatever the town may
Hello,
need.
my name is Audrey, and for the Connections Initiative, I was tasked with incorporating time banks into the city of El Monte, California. A time banking center is a community-based organization that implements a system of exchange where members trade services using time as the currency instead of money. The concept itself operated on a mutual aid and reciprocity, highlighting that everyone's time is equally valuable. Services can range from tutoring, gardening, and home repairs to companionship, cooking, or even professional advice. This all depends on the skills and needs of the members. Every hour of service is equally valued, regardless of the type of service. For an example, an hour of babysitting is worth an hour of gardening. This enables a couple of things such as cost savings, encourages skill sharing, and social equity. This also strengthens the community through networks of support. Two time baking centers would be located across the city, right next to or near community gardens or co-housing facilities. These three practices would be located on the same lot. Now, this practice would work by establishing a core group of community leaders, local organizations, as well as volunteers to serve as the founding members. This would include collaborating with local nonprofits, schools, as well as other institutions to both spread awareness and gain support. The infrastructure of the center itself would use TimeBanks USA or another software to track service exchanges and time credits. Designating certain areas such as community centers, libraries, or churches as meeting spaces or events could also help. Finally, finding out what services the residents could offer, as well as what they might need, could benefit the establishment of these time baking centers. We chose time baking as it promotes community connection, equity, as well as resource sharing, which are especially beneficial in diverse cities such as El Monte. El Monte could use time banking to bridge gaps, provide essential services without relying on money, as well as strengthen neighborhood bonds. The practice values everyone's time equally, encouraging collaboration and creating a support network that reflects the city's community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lara Rangel, and I focus on the food production aspect for the Connections Initiative for El Monte. We chose community gardens as a regenerative practice for food production. We chose this practice due to the high percentage of the El Monte population living in poverty. According to the United States Census Bureau, about 16.9% of El Monte population lives in poverty. Community gardens can provide significant food relief during times of economic struggle and help mitigate food insecurity. El Monte individuals growing their food can significantly reduce grocery bills, which can help alleviate economic burdens to many families. Families can save money by harvesting fruits, vegetables, and herbs from the garden instead of purchasing them from stores. Community gardens would offer a solution to food insecurity for the El Monte population living in poverty. A community garden involves a group of people coming together to cultivate a shared piece of land. The community garden would use regenerative techniques such as no-tilling, integrated pest management, crop rotation, and composting. The garden would also provide access to fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables, which can improve nutrition and reduce food costs for the people of El Monte. The community garden would be on a city-owned solid waste site. It would be connected to the Time Banking Center and the co-housing homes on the same lot. This project would work by organizing a group of volunteers who will be overseeing the garden. The community will be offered classes to teach and inform them how to properly use these regenerative techniques such as crop rotation, composting, no-till gardening, integrated pest management, as well as conserving water. Once the site is cleared, we would begin by adding compost to the soil. Once the soil is composted, then we would begin by planting. Assigned task members will have to sign up and get a lot assigned to them to prevent any problems between community members. Assigned community volunteers will oversee to make sure that the gardeners are properly using these regenerative techniques. Maintenance is a crucial part of a garden, which includes watering, pest management, and planting as well. Community members will share and rotate these tasks each week. Part of the produce that is harvested will be used to sell at local farm markets to help support garden expenses such as the water bill, since we would not want to charge an annual fee to the gardeners. The Connections Initiative for El Monte will not only provide a solution to food insecurity, but also it will provide a cleaner environment for them. Regenerative food production reduces greenhouse gas emissions as well as enhancing the ecosystem biodiversity. The purpose for our community garden is to maintain food security, foster a sense of community, and encourage environmental sustainability. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening and watching. We are free to answer any questions you guys have in the discussion.